The distress signal was old, weak, fading. It came from a planet named Chiron 4, a quiet world on the edge of known space. The signal was simple, a cry for help. No demands, no threats, just fear in the voice of a dying people. The transmission floated through space, bouncing from one comm station to another, slowly being ignored by every major race in the galaxy. The Galactic Council received it first. They logged it, discussed it for 10 minutes, then moved on. Chiron 4 was not rich. It had no rare minerals, no strategic location. The species living there were peaceful, weak, and unimportant. So the Council did what it always did with such problems. They ignored it. Other civilizations heard the signal, too. Some smaller empires tried to investigate, but the Council warned them, "Stay out. Let it die. It's not worth the risk." And just like that, the cries from Chiron 4 faded into silence. For over a decade, no one mentioned Chiron 4 again. No one sent ships. No one answered. The planet burned slowly, torn apart by war, starvation, and disease. The survivors hid underground, hoping for a miracle. But the miracle never came, until now. Without warning, a massive fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Chiron 4. It was not from any Council-approved power. The ships were dark, silent, sharp in design. Their armor shimmered like liquid metal, and strange energy signatures pulsed from their engines. There were no flags, no greetings, just a single broadcast in a voice that had not been heard in Council space for over a century. "This is Earth Command. Evacuation and cleansing protocols begin now. Do not interfere." The Council panicked. Earth? That name had not been spoken for years. After their removal from the Council, humans had vanished. They shut their borders, cut all communication, and disappeared into the shadows. Many believed Earth had collapsed, destroyed by its own aggressive nature. But they were wrong. Earth had been watching, preparing, growing, and now it had returned. On the surface of Chiron 4, the remaining survivors stared at the sky. The dark. Ships hovered like silent guardians. Then came the dropships. Hundreds of them. They didn't bring diplomats or speeches. They brought soldiers, calm, fast, and well-armed. These soldiers didn't threaten the locals. They brought food, water, medical supplies. They rebuilt shelters and set up command posts. It was like an army of ghosts, suddenly turned into saviors. An old Chiron elder named Velna whispered, "They came after all this time. They came." But it wasn't kindness that drove Earth. It was memory. Earth remembered everything: the betrayals, the exile, the silence. They remembered how the Council ignored dying voices. Earth had once begged for help, too, and no one had answered. Now, the same silence returned to the galaxy, but this time, Earth broke it with steel. The Council's nearest outpost tried to contact the human fleet. No reply. They sent warning signals. Still nothing. The humans acted like no law applied to them anymore. Back in the Council chamber, leaders argued. "They can't do this. Chiron 4 is under our zone of influence." But no one volunteered to stop the humans. The scans showed that Earth's ships were beyond advanced. Weapons unknown to the Council, power cores pulsing with strange energy, shielding that resisted every scan. Someone whispered, "What has Earth been building in the dark?" On Chiron 4, the survivors were evacuated to orbiting human vessels. The humans documented everything: the ruins, the bodies, the Council's failure. Then they started decontamination. Entire infected zones were burned, cities cleansed, data towers rebuilt. It wasn't just a rescue, it was a message. The humans didn't come to make allies. They came to show that Earth had returned, and it was no longer asking for permission. A Council scout ship entered the zone, trying to observe quietly. Within seconds, a warning shot nearly tore its engine apart. A single message followed: Leave, or be treated as hostile. The scout ship fled. The news spread fast across the galaxy. Earth has returned. Chiron 4 is under human control. The council is silent. No one could believe it. The humans had been gone for decades. Now they returned with fleets, weapons, and orders, and not a single word of diplomacy. They had responded to a cry no one else did. In the shadows of a ruined Kiran city, a human commander stood with Elder Velna. "You shouldn't have come," Velna said, tears in her eyes. "It's too late." The commander looked around the shattered land. "No," he said quietly. "Late, but not too late." In space, Earth's fleet spread into formation. Their engines pulsed like the heart of a sleeping giant now awakening. Across the stars, others watched in silence, wondering what would happen next. Because if Earth had returned for one forgotten world, what else had they heard? And what would happen when they arrived again, uninvited? Years ago, Earth had been pushed out of the Galactic Council. The vote was almost unanimous. The Council called humanity aggressive, dangerous, and unpredictable. Earth's leaders had argued, warned, even begged, but the Council didn't listen. They wanted peace without humans, so Earth walked away. They closed their borders. Their diplomats returned home. Their colonies went quiet. The galaxy moved on, thinking Earth was gone for good. But Earth never forgot. In hidden systems and underground labs, they built. In deep space, far from Council, eyes they trained. Their silence was not surrender, it was preparation. They remembered every insult, every betrayal, every unanswered plea. And when the signal from Chiron 4 was rediscovered in Earth's long-range archive, the choice was instant. No meetings, no votes, no talks, just action. The command came straight from Earth's high command. Respond, full strength, immediate deployment. The signal had been old, almost 11 years old, but it didn't matter. A cry for help had gone unanswered by the galaxy. But Earth heard it, and they decided it would not be ignored again. The fleet launched within hours, 32 warships, 8 heavy carriers, dozens of supply and medical vessels. It wasn't just a rescue mission, it was a return. As the human ships moved through deep space, they activated stealth drives and scrambled beacons. No one would see them coming. No one would stop them. Not until they arrived. Inside one of the command ships, Admiral Reese stared at the star map. He was an old soldier, one who had fought during the time Earth was cast out. He remembered how their ambassadors had been laughed at, how Earth's warning about border raids had been dismissed. And he remembered the last words of Earth's last diplomat before walking out of the council hall. "You will miss us when it's too late." Now it was too late. Chiron 4's skies turned black as Earth's ships dropped into orbit. No warning, no announcement, just sudden presence, loud and terrifying. The planet's survivors, hiding in underground bunkers, didn't know what to think. They had seen many ships in the past, pirates, slavers, council observers who had come only to watch and leave. None had helped, all had taken. But these ships were different, precise, organized, efficient. Dropships descended like rain, human. Soldiers poured out, fast, armored, and silent. They spread across ruined cities, checking for life, clearing debris, scanning for threats. When they found survivors, they gave them food and clean water before asking a single question. No cameras, no interviews, no drama, just action. Back in the Galactic Council, alarms blared. The humans had not asked permission. They had entered restricted space. They had taken control of a planet under Council observation. The Council called it an invasion, but Earth didn't answer. The Council sent 3 diplomatic probes to contact the human fleet. All 3 were ignored. The humans didn't even acknowledge them. Then came Earth's first message, short and cold. You failed. We won't. Panic spread across the council. They held emergency meetings. What does Earth want? Are they here to conquer? How powerful are they now? But no one had answers. Scans showed the human fleet had weapons the council couldn't identify. Their energy cores were 10 times stronger than before. Their ships were armored in unknown materials. And worst of all, the humans had done it all in silence, hidden, alone. It was not the same Earth. Back on Chiron 4, a young survivor named Juno stared at the human soldiers with wide eyes. She had grown up in darkness, afraid of the sky. But now she saw machines clearing ruins, drones planting crops, and medics treating wounds. They're fixing everything, she whispered. A human soldier smiled faintly. It's what we should have done long ago. But even among the rescued, fear lingered. Because this help came with no smiles, no songs, no joy. The humans didn't look like saviors. They looked like ghosts, strong, quiet, and angry, not at the Chironians, but at the ones who left them to die. Above the planet, Admiral Reese received a new transmission, another attempt from the council to talk. He didn't even open it. Instead, he turned to his officers. Begin data extraction. I want full logs of what happened here. Every crime, every cover-up, the galaxy needs to see the truth. As Earth's AI systems collected evidence, the truth became clear. The council had received the distress signal. They had held meetings, and they had chosen to let Chiron 4 die, to protect a trade route, to avoid bad press. Earth had everything they needed. They didn't come to argue. They came to show that some things could not be ignored forever, and somewhere deep in Earth's command center, the old Earth diplomat who once stood in the council chamber watched the footage silently. His hands clenched behind his back as the Chironians were rescued one by one. He whispered the same words he had spoken all those years ago. You will miss us when it's too late. And now, it was. The council thought Earth would respond with words, maybe a request, maybe a complaint, but not this. No one expected Earth to act without permission. No one expected a fleet. Now Chiron 4 was under Earth's full control. Satellites were launched into orbit. Defense grids powered up. Human engineers rebuilt communication towers and energy fields. The ruins of cities became command zones. Every move was calculated, fast, cold, without delay. To the council, it looked like an invasion. To the Chironians, it looked like hope. And to the galaxy, it looked like the return of something they feared long ago, a human presence with purpose. On the ground, human soldiers continued clearing danger zones. Some worked silently with advanced machines. Others patrolled damaged streets, watching the skies. The locals followed, confused and amazed. One Chironian child tried to hand a flower to a soldier. The soldier, with a metal arm exosuit, paused for a moment, then took it, placing it gently inside his armor. He didn't speak. None of them did much talking. Above them, Earth's fleet remained silent as well, like hunters watching from the shadows. The council, now desperate, sent a delegation ship to Chiron 4. They requested a meeting. This time, Earth answered. The human warship EOS Sentinel allowed the ship to dock. Inside, the council team was greeted by 4 silent guards in advanced exosuits. No handshakes, no introductions. They were led to a room where Admiral Reese waited. The council speaker began immediately. You have no authority to be here. This world is under council observation. You've violated several... Reese raised a hand slowly. No. You violated something first. You violated life. The speaker tried to respond, but Reese continued, his voice steady. We have logs, council votes, surveillance. You knew. The distress signal was real. You discussed it, and you chose not to act. That's not how it works, the council speaker said, frowning. We have protocols, priorities. Resources are limited. Reese leaned forward. We remember what it's like to be ignored. Earth remembers everything. The room fell silent. Your words are late, Reese said. Your concern is fake. The people of Chiron 4 suffered while you watched. We will not stand aside again. The council team tried to offer a compromise. They offered joint aid missions, joint governance, shared data. Earth refused. The message was clear. Earth didn't need help. They weren't there to join the old systems. They were creating their own path. The council team was escorted back to their ship. The docking bridge disconnected before they even cleared the hallway. Council leaders watched from afar, stunned. Earth wasn't just returning. They were rejecting the very system that once rejected them. Across the galaxy, messages spread fast. Humans have taken Chiron 4. Council denied access. Earth doesn't care about council law. Small worlds began whispering. Could Earth be trusted? Were they dangerous? Or were they the only ones who would show up when it mattered? Back on Chiron 4, locals moved into newly built shelters. Food supplies arrived by drone. Water treatment systems hummed to life. Medical teams treated diseases the council never bothered to research. Elder Velna, who had survived for over 10 years underground, was invited to a secure zone. There, she met a human-AI interface named Nova. You are safe now, Nova said, its voice smooth and calm. This planet is under Earth's protection. Velna looked around the clean facility, the soldiers working in silence. Why are you helping us? She asked. Nova paused. Because no one else did. Outside, Council spy probes tried to observe Earth's actions. They were disabled mid-transmission by EMP bursts. Earth wasn't hiding. They just didn't allow watchers. The message was simple: help or stay out of the way. A few minor council factions began to argue. Some said Earth was a threat. Others said the council failed and deserved this shame. On media channels, leaked images from Chiron 4 showed humans carrying injured children, rebuilding homes, and burning away bio-waste zones. The galaxy saw the truth. Earth didn't just arrive with guns. They arrived with responsibility, but they were not kind. They were efficient, cold, focused. There were no grand speeches, no parades, no pride, just results. Inside Earth's flagship, Reese stood before a wide screen showing the planet. Below, a young officer asked, Sir, what about the next signal? Reese nodded. Prepare the next phase. What if the council tries to interfere? Reese turned slowly. Let them. The officer didn't ask again. Back on Chiron 4, the sky was quiet now. The ships hovered silently like sentinels. The people slept without fear for the first time in years. But the stars above still felt tense, because the galaxy now knew Earth had heard the call, and next time they arrived, no one would get a warning. In the massive chamber, leaders of over 40 alien civilizations argued, shouted, and pointed fingers. Screens behind them showed live footage from Chiron 4, Earth ships in orbit, human soldiers on the ground, and the once-ruined cities rising again under Earth's control. This is a direct violation of council law, one ambassador barked. They didn't ask permission. They didn't even inform us, another added. Chancellor Vorek, the head of the council, slammed his fist on the table. Enough! We all saw what they did. Now we must decide what we are going to do. But deep down, they all knew the truth. They were afraid. No one had expected Earth to return like this, not just with power, but with precision. The human fleet was unlike anything the Council had seen before. Their ships ignored standard protocols. Their communication was limited, and their technology was unreadable. Every scan brought new questions. Their energy cores didn't match known fuel types. Their weapons had no heat signatures. And their ships, they looked alive. Some experts believed Earth had begun fusing biology with machines. How did they do this? Someone asked in a low voice. They were silent for decades, replied another. We thought they were gone. But Earth hadn't vanished. They had just stopped talking. And now, they had returned, with no intention of explaining themselves. Some council members wanted to send a warning fleet, a display of power. But when military analysts ran simulations, the results were horrifying. In every scenario, Earth's fleet won. Even worse, Earth didn't just win, it crushed the Council's forces in minutes. Their targeting systems were faster, their defenses smarter, their coordination perfect. One general spoke softly. They've been preparing for war, even when we forgot they existed. The Council sent another diplomatic message to Earth's fleet. It received no reply. Instead, Earth released its own broadcast. It was sent on all open channels. The voice was human, but cold and sharp. This is Earth Command. Chiron 4 has been secured. Evacuation complete. Reconstruction underway. Evidence of Council negligence recorded and stored. We will not attend your meetings. We do not recognize your authority. Stand down or be removed. That was all. No greetings. No peace offers. Just a fact and a warning. Across the galaxy, smaller civilizations watched with mixed emotions. Many had suffered under the Council's rule. Slow aid, ignored cries, and bureaucratic delays. Some even whispered, maybe Earth is what the galaxy needs now. Meanwhile, others feared Earth's silence. They had returned with strength, but no kindness. Their ships looked more like weapons than vessels. Their soldiers moved like machines. Were they saviors or conquerors? Back on Chiron 4, the people had no doubt. Earth had saved them. Food now arrived daily. Medical teams had already cured 2 major plagues. Water flowed again, and clean shelters had replaced the broken ones. Children played under the watch of drones. And still, the humans remained silent. They asked for nothing, but everyone felt the same quiet message. You are safe, but not free. At night, some Chironians stared at the sky with mixed feelings. Earth had done more than the Council ever did. But Earth had not come as friends. They had come with a mission. A Chironian medic asked a human soldier, "Why now? After all this time?" The soldier answered without looking at her. "Because you called." "But we called the Council," she replied. Now he looked at her. "We heard it anyway. Back in the Council chamber, fear turned to frustration. We can't just let them continue. If we confront them, we'll lose." "Then what? We sit and watch them take system after system?" No one had an answer. Then, someone brought up a secret file, a record from decades ago when Earth was expelled. In that meeting, Earth's final ambassador had made a statement, a warning. It read, "One day, you will face silence, and your power will fail. You will look to the stars for help, and no one will come, not even us, unless we choose to." That warning now echoed in every corner of the chamber. Earth had chosen, and they hadn't chosen the Council. They had chosen the forgotten, the abandoned, the weak. But they had done it without kindness, without mercy, without diplomacy. It was not about peace. It was about control, order, truth. And the truth was hard to face. The Council had failed Chiron 4. Earth had not. Now the question wasn't about stopping Earth. It was whether anyone could. The news of Chiron 4's rescue had already spread across every star system. Billions had watched the footage. Silent human soldiers helping the forgotten, rebuilding cities in days, restoring a planet the Council had left to die. But now, fear was growing, not because of what Earth had done, but because of what they might do next. On the edge of the Council's territory, smaller colonies began activating old defenses. Some independent systems sent messages to Earth, not in warning, but in respect. "We saw what you did," one message read. "If you are watching us too, we welcome you." Others were not so sure. They remembered old stories of Earth's wars, Earth's anger, Earth's unmatched will to win. In a far-off mining colony, an old alien worker whispered to his son, "The humans don't come to share. They come to clean what others failed to protect. Then they decide what stays." Earth had not made any promises. They hadn't needed to. Their silence was louder than speeches. Meanwhile, back on Chiron 4, strange things were happening. Human drones were digging deep into the surface. Satellite arrays pointed at the stars, scanning something the locals couldn't understand. It wasn't just a rescue mission anymore. Earth was building something. Admiral Reese stood in a mobile command center, watching 3D maps of nearby systems. Behind him, new reports came in, more distress signals from other forgotten worlds, lost colonies, dead systems the Council had ignored for decades. Earth's AI, Nova, brought up the latest coordinates. "Sir, we've confirmed 9 more distress signals in the outer zones. One is 26 years old. Another is still active." Reese didn't blink. "Prepare new fleets. Quiet insertion. Same protocol." Nova paused. "And Council resistance?" Reese answered coldly. "Disable, but don't destroy. Not yet." Word of Earth's expansion began to spread in secret channels. Spies and smugglers shared whispers of dark ships moving through unmarked space, entire planets going silent, then returning online under Earth's protection. The Council couldn't track all the movements. Earth's stealth systems were too advanced. Their ships didn't use traditional warp gates. They moved like ghosts. It was no longer just about Chiron 4. Earth had launched a silent campaign, targeting every abandoned world the Council had forgotten. In the halls of the Council, leaders panicked. "They are taking entire regions." "They don't speak to us. They don't explain." Chancellor Vorek looked at the star maps. 9 systems already under human control. 3 more now silent. "They're building something bigger," he said softly. "This is not random." "They're forming a new alliance," someone said. But Vorek shook his head. "No, they are not building allies." He pointed to the latest intercepted signal. It was human, cold, short. "We do not repeat your mistakes. We do not leave anyone behind, and we do not ask again." The Council realized the truth too late. Earth was not trying to take control. They were fixing the galaxy in their own way, by force, if needed. Back on Chiron 4, a young Chironian engineer named Luma walked through the new structures built by Earth, towers made of strange alloys, energy cores that hummed without fuel. She asked one of the human scientists, "Why are you doing this?" The human replied, "Because the galaxy is broken. Someone has to fix it." "But who gave you the right?" The human didn't answer. He just looked at the ruined skyline of Chiron 4, now being rebuilt by machines. Luma realized something terrifying. Earth didn't care about being right. They cared about never letting this happen again. On a Council warship near the edge of human-claimed space, a nervous captain watched his radar. "Sir, unidentified objects approaching." "How many?" "Too many. A fleet of human vessels decloaked nearby, not firing, not speaking, just watching." The captain sent a message. "You are in Council space. State your purpose." Earth's reply came moments later. "This is not your space anymore. You abandoned it." "We did not." The captain hesitated. Then the Earth ships slowly turned and vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind only silence and fear. Now, The galaxy understood. Earth was not conquering, Earth was correcting, and they were doing it without waiting for permission. Inside Earth Command's Deep Space Station, hidden in a black zone between systems, Admiral Reese stood before the gathered, admirals and AI cores. He spoke clearly. The Council made its choice. Now we make ours. We clean the mess they left. We protect what they forgot. And we answer every signal, every time. A younger officer asked, "Even if they try to stop us?" Reese nodded. "Then we show them why Earth was feared and why we should have never been forgotten." The room was silent. Then Nova spoke. "Next system ready for deployment," and just like that, the shadow of Earth moved again, cold, fast, and unstoppable. For weeks, Earth's fleets moved like whispers in the dark. One by one, abandoned colonies came back to life. Systems that hadn't seen power in decades suddenly lit up with Earth's flags and technology. Refugees were rescued, ruins turned into strongholds, and the galaxy began to shift. But the Council couldn't stay quiet anymore. They had lost too much territory, too much power, and too much pride. So they made a decision, a foolish one. They would stop Earth, even if it meant war. A special fleet was assembled. Dozens of ships from multiple Council races, not as strong as Earth's, but large in number. Their mission: intercept Earth's forces before they reach the next target system, Vatrax 9. They didn't expect Earth to know. They didn't expect Earth to be ready, but Earth knew everything because Earth had already been watching them as... The Council fleet moved toward Vatrax 9. They passed a quiet asteroid field. No signs of movement, no radar pings. But Earth's ships were already there, hidden, silent, and armed. Commander Elan of the Council fleet sat in his chair, proud and calm. "We will show them they cannot just take what they want," he said. But within seconds, everything changed. Dozens of Earth ships decloaked in perfect formation. Their weapons didn't glow, their engines made no sound. They were terrifying in their stillness. A message arrived on every Council ship at once. "You crossed the line. Turn back." Commander Elan ordered weapons online. Before they could fire, Earth acted. Not with destruction, but with precision. High-energy pulses hit every Council ship at once. Not aimed to kill, but to disable. Shields fell, controls failed, communications crashed. Every ship was dead in space. Not one shot was fired to destroy, but every ship was helpless. Earth's ships surrounded them, weapons ready, but silent. Then another message came. "We won't warn you again." The Council fleet was forced to retreat in shame, towed away by emergency drones. Back in the Council chamber, panic turned to anger. "They embarrassed us. They crippled a full fleet without killing a single pilot. They're not just stronger, they're smarter." And yet no one wanted war now. They had seen Earth's power, and they had seen their mercy. But no one knew how long that mercy would last. Some suggested peace talks. Others demanded new weapons. But deep down, they knew. It was already too late. Earth didn't care about their politics anymore. They had become their own power. On Vatrax 9, Earth's fleet landed 2 days later, without resistance. They found survivors hiding under old machinery. The same story again. Council ignored them. Promises were made. No one ever came. But Earth came, with clean supplies, with quiet engineers, with soldiers who worked faster than machines. And yet, they didn't smile. They just worked, cold, focused, like they were running out of time. A rescued child on Vatrax 9 asked a human medic, "Are you angels?" The medic didn't look up. "No, angels ask first." At Earth's Central Command, Admiral Reese stared at a new star map. Systems marked in red were Council-controlled. Systems in blue were now stabilized by Earth. The map was changing fast. Nova spoke again. "Sir, Reports show new council ships grouping near the rim, possibly preparing for another interception. Reese gave a simple order. Show them what happens if they try again. He didn't need to say more. Earth had sent a message, and now the galaxy was listening. In hidden corners of the galaxy, small worlds began reaching out, not to the Council, but to Earth. We were abandoned too. Will. You help us? Please, we don't want to be forgotten. And Earth answered, one by one. Without politics, without delay, but not for kindness. They weren't here to be heroes. They were here to make sure no one else was ever left behind again. Back in Council territory, Chancellor Vorek met with his advisors. We pushed them away. We ignored their warnings. Now they walk through our borders like we don't exist. One advisor whispered, because to them we don't. Vorek said nothing. He looked at the last transmission from Kiran 4. Children playing, cities rebuilt, sky clear, and Earth's banner flying high. They had arrived uninvited, and now they had made themselves impossible to remove. The galaxy had changed. No council announcement, no grand war, no formal treaties, yet the shift was everywhere. Maps were rewritten quietly. Power moved in silence, and everywhere Earth went, silence followed. But so did order, and that terrified the Council more than any weapon. They had tried to fight Earth with numbers, failed. They had tried to shame them with politics, failed. And now they stood helpless, watching as Earth reached system after system, not with invasions, but with decisions, human decisions. On a distant planet named Ethra 12, Earth's forces landed without firing a single shot. The people didn't resist. They were too weak, too broken, too tired. The Council had once promised to protect them, but after 10 years of nothing, no one believed in promises anymore. But Earth didn't bring promises. They brought shelter, power, silence, and warnings. Above Ethra 12, a single Earth battleship hovered like a quiet mountain in the sky. The world below lit up again. Hospitals restored, fields revived, disease cured, but no ceremony, no flags waved. Only one thing was certain. Earth was watching. In Council territory, Chancellor Vorek sat in his dark office reading the latest reports. 15 more systems had gone silent, and all of them now had the same sign. Transmission secured by Earth. Command. Civilian aid underway. Council access denied. Vorek finally spoke. They're building a new order. One system at a time. His aide nodded. And they're not asking for permission. Vorek whispered, because they don't have to. Meanwhile, inside Earth's command center, deep in unclaimed space, Admiral Reese stood in front of a growing map. It now held almost 30 reclaimed systems. Some were fully rebuilt. Others were still in rescue phases. But all were now under one protection. Earth's .nova, Earth's central AI, processed a new signal. Sir, a broadcast from the Council. They request an emergency meeting. Reese didn't turn. Their first or their last? The 6th this month. Reese sighed. No reply. Nova paused. They say they're ready to talk, to negotiate. Reese finally looked at the screen. We tried that. Years ago. They answered with exile. But things are different now, the AI suggested. Reese nodded slowly. Yes. Now we're not asking. Elsewhere in the galaxy, whispers grew stronger. Some said Earth was preparing to form a new alliance, an alliance of those left behind. Refugees, failed colonies, forgotten species, worlds the Council had used, then abandoned. And the strange thing, people wanted in, because Earth, for all its silence and coldness, showed up, and that mattered more than kindness. In a refugee zone on Vitrax 9, an old woman spoke to a younger alien who had never seen a human. They don't smile much, she said. But they saved us, and they never asked for thanks. Do they rule us now? The younger one asked. The woman shook her head. No. They just don't let others rule over us anymore. The final blow to the council came 2 weeks later, and a bold core world, once a jewel of the council, sent out a desperate signal. Riots, disease, famine. Council forces couldn't respond fast enough. Their ships were too far, their systems too broken. But Earth's ships arrived in less than an hour. 3 massive carriers, 2 hospital cruisers, a fleet of drones. The world was stabilized in a single day, and the planet's leaders made a decision. They no longer recognized the Council. They chose Earth instead. That day, across the galaxy, billions watched as the Council's banner was taken down, and Earth's rose. In its place, the galaxy didn't erupt in war. It simply moved on. The Council had failed too many times, and Earth had simply refused to fail. Back on Earth's command station, Nova gave its final daily report. 18 systems fully stabilized, 5 more in progress. Council resistance, 0. Civilian. Requests for Earth aid continue to rise. Reese looked out into the stars. Any new signals? Nova's voice turned quiet. Yes, 1 more. Deep system. Old colony. Council records, non-essential, abandoned. Reese nodded once. Then we answer. No reinforcements? He smiled slightly. They'll learn. Earth doesn't ask twice. And just like that, another fleet launched. No speeches, no banners, just steel, silence, and unshakable purpose. Across the stars, the message was now clear to everyone. The call was ignored by the galaxy. But Earth answered, and from now on, no one would be left behind again.